it's getting slighter, so we'll see.
Good. Well, the good news
If I get
is,
up,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say the good news is the Red Wings aren't on tonight to lose while we're doing this thing. So,
Yeah, but aren't the Stones like late in the fourth with a chance to win this game?
are they? I don't know. I've had
They were down two with like 3 minutes to go. Oh no, they're down nine with one. Jesus Christ, they're such a disaster. Anyway,
no, I have the foosball on tonight.
oh God, yeah, Matt Stafford's coming.
We'll get there. I we'll get there. We'll get there. But before we get there, welcome to the Christmas edition of Chris and Matt here on musicmoonsalts.com.
Got a little elf on the shelf for the show this week.
Do you? Yeah, we don't do that. We are anti elf on the shelf household.
You're no fun. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Or
Exactly what
you're.
it is.
Oh, never mind. I can't speak. Never mind.
um, yeah. So we're gonna talk. There's a couple of stories from the week I want to touch on. Then we're gonna give Matt and I each are gonna give a couple of things from the year of 2023 that few things we liked or we loved, things we didn't like or hated, and then of course we'll end the show with our weekly Lions talk. We're back, baby. We're back.
The ship has been righted.
That's right. Restore the feeling.
Yeah, well, that's yeah. I mean, that's what we're doing now, right?
That's it. That's what it's all about, is restoring the feeling.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, how was your week, Matt? Are you all ready for Christmas?
I'm like 95% ready for Christmas. The only we're hosting the family party we host every year for Holly and her brothers. Um, so I am preparing to be cooking for several hours over the Saturday night into Sunday morning.
See, we are. Yeah, well, it's weird. So, mom and dad and Kyle are coming over here on Christmas Day after we get home from Mikkel's parents' house. Uh,
Sure.
but they're bringing the bulk, the majority of the food. They're cooking the turkey and the mashed potatoes and all that.
Yeah.
They're cooking that at their house and then just bringing it over here. So,
I mean, I cheat a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have to cook a prime rib for my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law every year wants prime rib for Christmas, and I know, right? And it's the mother-in-law. I'm not
right.
going to say no.
Exactly.
What you want for Christmas? Whatever.
Yeah.
And I made it for the first year, and I think she's gassing me up, but she's like, oh, that's the best I've ever had. It's the best prime rib I've ever had at home. So every year I have to do that. But then we also kind of cheat and we order the Bob Evans like big family feast for like all of our sides and like all that stuff, because all you got to do is like warm it up in saucepans and throw it in throw the meats in the oven. So it's not as chaotic as it was the first couple of years where I was making everything. Holly and I were making it all from scratch, but um, the whole hosting people and having everyone over, it's a several day event.
Yes.
Gotta make sure the house is perfect. So if anyone goes into a room for any amount of time during those 4 hours, they don't see how cluttered the house is 99% of the time.
Oh, see, the living room, kitchen area, making sure that's looking nice and neat. But don't be looking in any other rooms, and it's my
Yeah,
parents, like they don't care. So, but still, it's
right.
like, because I got to find some place to throw all this shit that we have in the living room
Yeah.
and kitchen.
God forbid your house looks like something where people live.
Yeah. So, but anywho, so let's get. Did you by chance happen to see the Seth Rollins Drew McIntyre promo from Monday?
I saw it was on in the background. I paid attention to parts of it. I drifted off on other parts. I think I know where you're going with this, because it was pretty solid.
It's
What I
really good.
saw.
It was really good.
Um, So it seemed like it did the job. I really liked Drew's part
Mm-hmm.
of like, this is real to me. Like, I miss everything. And it goes along with what they're doing really well with his character of like, yeah, he's turning heel, but he's kind of right though too. Like, he's
Mm-hmm.
got a gripe. So it's being done really well.
Was what was really well done about that is both guys kind of, you came away with that being like, well, Drew's got a point. Well, Seth's got a point too. Like, you kind of feel for Drew, and miss it. What he was saying about having to miss family things. Being that he's from halfway across the world and stuff like that, in order to be live his dream and stuff like that, and how he kind of tried to relate to Seth in that way, because obviously Seth is married to Becky, and so she's in the same boat. And
Wait, really?
yeah, yeah.
Never
Um,
knew.
and then Seth was like, "Yeah, like, get over yourself, dude," and like, basically is like, you're not gonna be a world champion until you start taking some responsibility for yourself, instead of saying everyone else is the reason why you're not champion is because of everyone else. So, Drew right now is probably the most interesting character on the show. I just really like what they've been doing with him for like the last month or so. So,
I mean, you know me, I'm not a Drew McIntyre guy. Like, I don't hate the guy, but I when he was getting hot right, before COVID,
mm-hmm.
when we were doing our stuff back then, I was like, I just don't get it. I'm not into the guy, and I'm not saying like I'm oh, Drew's on. I gotta, the
Mm-hmm.
channel isn't getting changed. But yeah, he's definitely, this is the most I've ever been like, I'm curious to see like how this progresses. Uh, Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm looking forward to the match on New Year's. They're really seem like they're really stacking that show up. For that a New Year's Raw day one. Um, do you see any chance Drew wins and they maybe do a little back and forth? Maybe Seth wins it back at Rumble, and then we can carry on with our road to um, Punk and Seth.
I mean, I don't hate the idea, uh, but also like, I kind of feel like if that happens, if Drew wins, does he lose the heel persona over those next couple weeks because he finally got
Depends on how he
what he was.
wins.
Yeah, like, I maybe you could do it. I don't hate it. It certainly worked when they had Edge win early in January and then Cena got it back off of him. I didn't hate that. So
The other thought is he wins, and then that's when Priest cashes in, and so he wins, but then loses it right away, and that kind
sure.
of sends him even more on the deep end,
And
or
you
off
could
the
have
deep
Sam
end.
and you could have Sammy make his return as the one who maybe post match he goes after
Mm-hmm.
McIntyre,
And then maybe you
and
can
that
do a four-way at Rumble with,
even yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
And now that you're mentioning that, that would be a good way because Punk has made his intention clear, like he's going for a title to win the Rumble. That would give him a reason to interact with those guys of like all four of them are involved. Well, maybe I'll see you at WrestleMania, or maybe I'll see you at WrestleMania, and I'm going to get to this later, but you're going to interconnect a lot of different
Mm-hmm.
things and keep everyone seeming like they're involved in the big stuff instead of just one or two people.
Right. And then the other idea I had relating to that is maybe you delay either the rematch or whatever. You delay having the belt land on Seth until the Chamber, because as I said last week, the way you could do it is you have Punk win the Rumble, and then but he kind of waits to make his decision until he sees where all the dust settles after the chamber to make his decision on who he's going to go after.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about that is if Punk and Rollins is the match, I would like to have several months of build in it. And if you do it like that, then you're knocking it down to a matter of weeks. And not that they can't do it effectively, but sometimes I like when kind of like they did this week, where they had the big segment last week where Rollins finally came out and said what he had to say to Punk. And now there's going to be 2 or 3 weeks of a break from it, so that you're kind of anticipating the next time they get back in the ring together. If Seth were to get it back at Chamber, then you almost have to do that every single week. This is the next chapter in the story.
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember the exact date of the Chamber. I can't remember if it's like end of February or if it's beginning or middle or what. So because
you're still looking at like 6 to 8 weeks to do the whole thing at that point. Where if you do the Rumble, you get a couple months,
sure.
full months.
Sure. No, that's fair. That's fair. So yeah, I really like that on Raw. Oh, I forgot about this. I wasn't. AJ Styles came back on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And the J stands for jacked.
Or juiced, but whatever.
Juiced. Whatever.
Yeah. I think AJ heard some of those. Oh, he's getting up there. He doesn't look as good. Which is, I mean, it's AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Like, AJ on his worst day is better than 90% of the people that have ever done this. So,
so yeah, he's back, and he attacked the Bloodline, but then he also attacked LA Knight. So, we'll see where that. That's another one where I could see them, instead of just doing the Roman Randy 1-on-1, I could see them doing some sort of multi-man. If they don't do one for the world title, they could do that at Rumble for the Roman's belt with Randy and LA Knight and AJ. But
yeah, see, I think you just do Randy and Roman.
I think so too.
And that way you get big names in the Rumble match, like legitimate threats. I mean, whatever. It's once again, there's only going to be a couple people that have a realistic chance, but how cool would it be if LA Knight were one of the last 2 or 3 and you could see him get that, that pop of like, oh my God, he could win it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool if the Final Four was like Cody, LA Knight, and then Punk and
Jay and Sammy.
Sure.
Those were your final 5. It'd be like everyone who has a legitimate bitch about wanting the belt is right there.
And they'd be like your top 5 guys, basically.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you're missing like a Seth, but
right,
yeah.
Right. Everyone who's not already belted up.
Yeah.
So. But. That also leads me to something that I've been struggling with. I don't want to get into it this week. We'll wait till next week, because next week we'll probably do more of a 2024 preview. This episode is more of a look back, but I have some concerns about Mania, Matt.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
I don't think my story's getting, my story. I don't think the story's getting finished.
Huh? That's we can get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that next week, because that's certainly something that a lot of people are talking about. I was in a not to jump too far. I was in a bowling alley over the weekend up in Brighton. I had a friend's birthday party, and someone I'd never met. I wore my CM Punk T-shirt, the one that and he's like, "Hey man, great shirt." And we ended up talking for like 15 minutes about wrestling, and he talked about that. I don't know. So it's already getting in people's heads.
Yeah. I'm not happy, but
I wonder how much I'd have to pay your wife to video record your reaction to that if it happened.
Um,
That would. I mean, I'd probably I'd be willing to spend a bill on that. I think.
well, see the way the way look, the way I think about it is if it's not gonna happen, you don't do the match again. But
Sure. Let's get to that next week.
we'll get to that next week. The other thing, current day. So obviously, everyone knows 2024 is a big free agent year. There's a lot of top talent.
Something about a bidding war. I think I've
Right.
heard
Well,
that.
and he's MJF is certainly one of them. And so there's been a lot of stuff going. WWE has reportedly re-signed a bunch of people. Dominic and Rey Mysterio both re-signed. Charlotte re-signed, and it sounds like Bayley probably has re-signed as well. So they're locking people up. And the other one, MJF, he told I believe it was Sports Illustrated.
It was Sports Illustrated. Yeah.
He flat out said that he's not signed, contrary to what some people, myself included, have speculated, that he quietly had re-signed with AEW, and and that's why they haven't really mentioned the bidding war of 2024 the last few months, because because that's not really a babyface thing to do, and he's been playing the babyface, but yeah. So according to him, he's still scheduled to become a free agent at the beginning of the year. So what do you think about that? Do you think he's full of shit, or is he or do you think there's a chance that he's actually not locked down?
I don't see how him going public with something like that when he's already signed would be beneficial to the company in any situation.
Mm-hmm.
I get people who are like, well, yeah, but you could fire him, and he could even go work at other places for a little bit with the intention of coming back. I just don't see anything like that happening. If he's signed, with the way AEW is going right now, you can't do a story like that with him where he goes away for a little while and then come. Like, if he's signed, he needs to be on that very first episode of Dynamite or whatever episode it would be after his contract. You can't have that guy not on TV. He's one of your biggest stars, and they're really lacking interesting characters right now.
Right.
And I've seen other people say there's no way he hasn't re-signed. Where, why would AEW give him this run if he hasn't re-signed? Well, for that exact reason. He's one of the most interesting characters you have. This might be your last chance to draw every bit of interest out of it as possible. And since they really need interesting content right now, like they're trying to finish this story before he leaves in the middle of it.
Right.
So I conspiracy theory part of me, I don't think it was a coincidence that Cody was talking about this a couple of weeks ago, I think in an interview with Sports Illustrated or someone, where he said, like, it might have been in New York, actually. It might have been the Michael K show in New York, where they asked him about MJF, and he said, I think MJF will end up there someday. Like, it's no secret him and Max, or Cody and Max, are friendly, like, friends. And I'm sure that is something that, like, they've talked about, just the two of them as friends. Cody's kind of always looked out for Max since this started, since AEW started. So, I said a couple of weeks ago, if Max hasn't signed, I think he'd be nuts to stay with AEW. I don't care what kind of money they offer you. It's, you don't want to be the guy who has to go to WWE when 15 other guys have to go. You want to be the guy who goes on your own. And when those other guys come along, you're already well established, kind of like Jericho.
Right.
When Jericho showed up in '99, he had his struggles, no doubt, but he came on his own accord. And when Malenko and Saturn and them came along, it was like, well, when the rest of the guys in WCW, not the Radicals, excuse me,
after the purchase,
but when Right. It was like, well, you're here because we have your contract. We don't
Right.
have to do anything with you.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I still I'm still leaning towards he's signed and he's just, kayfabing to the media. I guess we'll see at the pay-per-view, like if he wins, obviously he's at least came to some sort of agreement in the short term.
Yeah.
But if he loses, then it's kind of like, well, maybe, you know. Uh, so yeah, we'll see. That's I
I mean,
mean,
if he stays with AEW, I think a short term deal is his best move. Like I'm willing to stay, but I'm not staying for anything more than 18 months or 2 years. Um,
well, I mean,
I just like
if that, like, I could see, because they do it. I mean, there's a belief that Drew, um, his contract is supposed to be up prior to WrestleMania, but
yeah.
there's a belief that he has signed um, some sort of extension to get through Mania. I mean, that's happened before with people. I believe Jericho, when he left the first time in '05, I think that was his contract was up, and then they extended it for however long to get him through SummerSlam.
No, no, I think that if I remember right, that the story goes he was trying to get them to sign him to like, hey, let's sign a short term extension, so that I'm through the pay per view. Because remember, in his book, he tells a story about like they're like, oh, we need you at Raw on Monday, and it was his kid's birthday, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like no, and then like they had like a whole bunch of underneath guys call, and it wasn't until Vince called and was like, "Hey, I need you in whatever town."
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's when Jericho was like, "Okay, well, Why did you send all your lackeys? It should have came from you. I'll be there." And he signed
Mm-hmm.
like a 2 day extension to get through it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean that there's been precedent for it is basically what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah, I
I
get
could
it.
see MJF doing the same, because you gotta finish up the Devil, the Adam Cole, like you gotta wrap that up.
AEW has to wrap
AEW
that
has to
up.
wrap it. Right. He doesn't have to do anything, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
Not interesting enough to get me to order that pay per view, but
Sure.
it'll be interesting.
Yeah. I'll be interested to find the results out later.
Sure.
So, and with that, oh, not that one yet. Let's take a look back, shall we? Do you want to do the good or the bad first?
Let's do the good.
Okay. I like it. I like it. Hold on.
You know, I like my dessert first.
Yeah. Well, and actually, the way I've got it's the way two one of my things that I liked and one of the things that I didn't like tied are like connected. So, it actually it'll work nicely. Stop doing that. Oh my
This is a professional operation,
god.
Christopher. What are you doing here?
I know. Tell me about it. Just trying to get this stuff to work. It's not. There we go. All right. Why don't you go ahead and go first? Just give me your list, your stuff you liked. And
Oh,
yeah, we won't do
oh,
or unless you want to go back and forth.
it doesn't matter. For me, the big thing that I took out of this year, and part of it is watching more WWE as it's gone on. WWE is finally building up a strong upper mid card for the first time, and it feels like decades.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to tune into a show and see multiple segments back to back with people I'm actually interested in, and not, okay, there's the Seth segment that was whatever. Here's 40 minutes of stuff I don't care about. Otis doing his screaming and whatever, just stuff I don't care about. And then I get 10 minutes of what I do. It feels like they've just found enough upper middle card top tier guys, where every week there's something good on throughout the show.
Mm-hmm.
And when I quit watching, that was a big part of why I quit. I was just like, it wasn't worth my time to spend that much time watching it for what amounted to is about half an hour's worth of entertainment I enjoyed a week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that kind of ties into Vince McMahon finally being out of the business, for the most part, is a huge plus for me on a bunch of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
If only for the way the shows have gotten better,
Yeah.
and feel more modernized. He's also an awful human being who I like as much as I appreciate what the gift that he gave the world of WWF, WWE. The stories about him just make me like despise him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I love seeing him get bamboozled in a business deal and basically force himself out of his own company.
Yeah.
So I like that. And the final thing, and this actually ties across both companies, and I saw someone on social media complaining about this in the last day or two about the amount of lengthy title runs that we're seeing now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big, like, I know people hate the Roman one. Maybe the Roman one has dragged on too long. But I like that we're seeing title reigns of substantial either length or number of defenses where like every match seems important again. Every time Gunther's in the ring right now, it's like, no, is the Miz going to be the one to beat him? No, but we're at the point where anyone could beat him at any time because he can't do this forever.
By the
and
way,
it adds
that match fucking ruled on Monday. It was even better than their Survivor Series match.
Right. And like that's what I mean is like every time he steps in the ring now to defend that title, there's even more interest, and then he just keeps going out and putting on fantastic matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even over in AEW, like the Orange Cassidy run with the international title, like it ended in a stupid way, and it maybe went on a little too long for who his character is. But that was the first time that Orange Cassidy felt like a main event star to me, like an actual main event star, not, well, he gets to wrestle Jericho, and because Jericho's a name, he's going to get featured. It was like, oh no, the Orange Cassidy match is this week. I can't wait to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And back on look, whether you like the Roman thing or not, for how long it's gone on, it's still something that is historic in terms of being a wrestling fan. We get to witness a guy hold the title for over 1,000 days,
sure.
possibly, become the third longest reign of all time. Like when we were younger, you heard about stuff like that. You're like, can you imagine a guy having the belt for 7 years? That'd be ridiculous. Well, and everywhere he goes, they draw crowds when Roman's on the card. So,
in the words of John Bon Jovi, "Whoa, we're halfway there." Yeah, I don't have a problem with long reigns. I don't think every title needs to have a reign that's like,
sure.
And that's why I kind of like, going back to earlier, I don't mind the idea of Seth and Drew kind of trading the world title back and forth.
Yeah.
Just to break it up a little bit. But
Flair and Steamboat, is regarded as one of the greatest trilogies of all time. That's the title flip-flopping back and forth.
Well, look, and like, as I've said it before a bunch, but like my favorite era, or my favorite time period to go back and watch, is like that late 99 through early 2001. and that world title was bouncing all over the place during that time period. So, so yeah, I mean, there's no, I guess there's no like real standard when it like whatever fits whatever you're trying to do. Like there's no right or wrong, when it comes to that stuff. You were a little more broad strokes. I had more specific things. Other than I will say, my first thing I said was a bit more big picture, and it was just WWE fully under Triple H's creative control the last 4 or 5 months, or however long it's been since Vince has essentially been out for good. You know, they've again mentioned it a bunch, but the amount of top baby faces they have that are getting crazy reactions is, I mean, it hasn't been like this in at least 20 years.
Yeah.
And so it's just, and even the lower stuff like doesn't feel as throwaway as the lower card stuff did before.
Sure.
So yeah, that was one thing. I also liked while it lasted until Adam got hurt. The MJF Adam Cole stuff was just magnificent. The sketches and stuff like that. I was really into that. And I think that's really when Adam got hurt. That's really when things kind of took a turn for me with AEW. Is like they were still trying to like keep that going, even though Adam was hurt, and it's just that amongst other things. And the other thing, and it'll tie into one of the things I also hated, but when the Elite finally reunited earlier this year, I was pretty pumped up for that. So while it lasted, I really liked that.
Yep.
So, and then I guess I'll just go into the things I hated. The Elite reunion, meaning absolutely nothing in the long run. Hated that. It's just just a waste, just a waste of time, and you know, just awful. The other, I mean, second goes without saying, Cody losing. That was not great. And then the last thing I had was Tony Khan. He's really been on my nerves, especially the last few months. Really, you know, when they did they had the head-to-head thing going, and he took the shots at Vince, and rightfully so. But then 2 weeks later, he's trotting out Ric Flair on his TV show. I'm like, okay, sure, dude. And then I don't remember I didn't see the exact quote, but he's said something about being constantly under attack during the...
Being in AEW means being constantly under attack.
Right. Like, dude. He's... What was his strength at the beginning has turned into just a major turnoff here in the last 6 months to a year.
I wasn't going to phrase it as Tony Khan. It was going to be the disappointment of it. Just constant disappointment around AEW is something I hated, just absolutely hated this year. But you saying it like that, Tony Khan is kind of at the center of all of that. Mm-hmm. And it's someone posted the initial episode of Dynamite on Twitter yesterday, the full episode. Mm-hmm. And then I started going back and just looking through the stuff they were doing earlier in that run. And it's like, it's just really sad how much that company has changed in really the last 18 months. And he's at the center of it. It's a complete lack of professionalism, probably isn't the right word, but it's like, it's it's clown behavior at this
Mm-hmm.
point. Oh, we're always under attack, and before that, I never at a wrestling show have I feared for my life like that.
Right.
And spit like obviously for me, the whole Punk situation dating back to last year, but this whole
Mm-hmm.
year is just been like this sucks. Like
Right.
it sucks having to uh just as a fan sit through uh a bunch of like nonsense drama in the backstage affecting what should just be a fun TV show.
Right.
And the toxicity of the internet community surrounding that topic.
Right.
Yeah, so TK is just it's been a bad year for AEW, just bad. Um,
Yeah. I real quick. I still because we've hammered this, so I don't want to spend too much more time on it. But that whole situation, if he just steps in for the even so far as like you can't tell me like he couldn't have foreseen let's take Punk at his word and he didn't have anything to do with Colt Cabana being shipped down to relegated to ROH. If you're Tony Khan, why would if you don't have to do it, why would you do it? Because if you do it and don't explain anything to anyone, people are going to make the assumption like it's just natural,
right.
and then to not come out ever until it was too late to clarify what was going on there. Like he could have squashed that whole thing before it even got started.
Well, but the continued refusal to squash it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Bucks they don't want anything to do with Punk. They refuse it. I said it on our show. You think anyone in the WWE locker room told Vince McMahon back in the day, I refuse to work with this person, and I'm not gonna bend on this in any way, shape, or form.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I was just gonna say to his biggest star in the company, no. Vince said, "Get your ass in here. We're gonna figure this out. There's money to be made here." Vince knew there was no money to be made off of Stone Cold and Jeff Jarrett. Okay, the guy broke 1,000,000 guitars, never drew a dime. Shout out to Mike Graham
Yes.
for that one. That part of
Mm-hmm.
just like you call them up and you say, "Look, I don't care. There is fucking Matt Hardy's girlfriend cheated on him with one of his coworkers, and they turned that into a storyline and made money off of it. You got punched in the face in a backstage brawl. Go make $1,000,000 and shut up."
Right.
But and not picking him up at the airport and just all of it, just that nonsense. Like, and then the constant like, "Oh, we're under attack and the big bad machine's after us." Shut up. Like, just shut up.
Remember,
Um,
it was like a year ago now. He had the thing where it was he accused them
Tampering.
of bots, like
Oh yeah,
the bot
yeah.
farm.
Getting bots to
Yeah.
go in all the social media posts. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. 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 That was a good time.
yeah. God, yeah. I went somewhere completely different. Oh, I'm fucking tired of this, and I'm not going to take
Oh
it
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Uh,
Well,
the
yeah.
other thing I really
I was gonna
what
say
did you have something else?
go on with the rest of your list.
The other big thing that I hated this year was the rapid decline of the interesting things going on with the bloodline. It was
Yeah.
so hot heading into Mania, and we talked about it. You could feel it starting to slow, and SummerSlam, man, they really dropped the ball there. I'm not saying Jay had to win or anything, but the way that played out, just it killed it. It has been just boring since then, and it's sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that was probably as good of a year WWE had. I would say even more so than Cody not winning. I think that whole scenario at SummerSlam was a major misstep. Um, Again, yeah, I don't think anyone expected Jay to win, but the But I mean, I guess I don't know. You're getting a good singles run out of Jay out of it, so maybe that was worth it. But the part that didn't make sense is Jimmy leading up to that was so out, and then he just fell right back in line type thing. That part was just kind of didn't
all of it just got
up.
convoluted. Yeah. And you could have just had Roman beat Jay clean and asserted his dominance as the tribal chief a little bit longer and done the Uso breakup a different way.
He doesn't beat anybody clean though. That's part of the problem.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if you have him beat Jay clean, it relieves that part of the audience. It gives him a decisive victory. It would have reestablished the chain of command in the bloodline. I just in hindsight is 2020, but I don't. Most people coming out of SummerSlam were like, "Man, that sucks," and it just since then it's gotten progressively worse.
Right.
And part of it is Roman's not on TV, and Solo and Jimmy aren't strong enough to carry it by themselves.
Right. Yep. I agree with that. So, all right. Is there anything else about the year that was before we move on?
Nothing that I need to spend a significant time talking about.
All right. Sounds good. We're back, baby. All the rights have been wrong, or all the wrongs have been righted. That was Do you agree with me that was that they finally played a complete game? Like, that was their most complete game they played all year?
All season. Yeah, that was the first time where they came out and just executed on both sides of the ball throughout the entire course of the game.
Yeah.
They didn't have that third quarter lull. They didn't set the world on fire, but like things didn't fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to be like, oh, everyone look, guess the running back and the tight end in the first 36 picks isn't such a bad idea. But like, no one saw this coming.
No.
There's like, these guys are having two of the best rookie seasons like we've seen in a long time, and Gibbs missed some time. Like, these guys are monsters, and it was refreshing to see, like, hey man, when they've got everybody, this thing can cook.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got to stay healthy.
That offensive line
it's clear
specifically needs to stay healthy.
Yeah, it's clear they need everybody on the field to get it going, because when they're missing a couple key players, the whole thing falls apart.
You've heard the stats about when they have all five starters on the O-line, right?
Yeah.
They're like racking up 37. It's been only 5 games all season that they've had the 5 starter. I don't know if that includes the first game when Vaitai played or not, but essentially the starting 5 of Decker, Jackson,
Ragnow,
Glasgow, and Sewell. When those 5 guys are playing, it's been 5 games and they've scored like 37 points a game and racked up like 400 some yards in those games. And yeah, it's just a completely different team. I mean, Goff has time. Yeah, it's just that's the key. That's the key. If they can, if those 5 stay healthy and can play, they can hang with anybody not named San Francisco.
See, I think if they're healthy, that's the only way they can hang with San Francisco, is if that offensive line is healthy,
mm-hmm.
because that means the offense can cook, And the only way you're beating San Francisco is if you can hang a 35 burger on them, a 31. You're going to
Well,
have to
and
score
control
to
the
beat San
possession.
Francisco.
Control the
Right,
possession, time of possession.
right. So, like, seeing how they play when they're all there, that's the only way they can beat San Francisco.
Right.
It's not to say I would pick them, and I don't think anyone's better than San Francisco right
No.
now. But yeah, the offensive line is mega important. You and I were texting during the game too. It was kind of, you kind of noticed, hey, they got the ball to Laporta early. Hey, JMO got like 4 targets in the first quarter. They were feeding him the ball. Gibbs and Montgomery going back, and suddenly what happened? Oh, Amon-Ra is in one-on-one coverage, and the middle of the field is open again, and he gets to eat too. Like, funny how when you spread the ball around down the field, it opened it up for your best players to make plays instead of all these screens at the line of scrimmage
Right.
and fake reverses. They tried another fake reverse, and it was one of the only negative plays I remember on offense. Like, just like, you got dogs out there. You gotta feed the hungry dogs. You can't just focus on one or two.
Right. The other thing, is like it started out like the game started out and you're like, oh no, because they went 3 and out. They got the ball and went 3 and out, and then immediately gave up like a 40-yard pass play to Judy. After I was like, I'm not worried about Jerry Judy. Like but to their credit, and I'll get to the defense here in a minute. But they go the first 3 possessions of nothing, and then it's like, boom, they 6 out of the last 7 possessions they scored on. So, we don't. Sun God, we don't need to be doing any more swantons into the end zone. Like, I appreciate the effort, but let's be smart now too. But as good as the offense was, I was impressed by the defense. I mean, and I'm not saying Denver's not some offensive juggernaut, but oh my God, like, if you're not getting pressure with your front four, you send some extra guys and look what happens. Like,
yeah,
it was amazing.
And look, Bugs is in the lineup and he makes a play. Like, I texted you during the game, and I'm like, it's almost like they moved some guys off of the field who had gotten complacent, and they put hungry players that were out there to prove. And Melifonwu, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Bugs, like, all those guys made substantial. The Dorsey and the other cornerback, like, they put guys out there that are like, man, I need to prove myself.
Yeah,
and they're making plays that Jerry Jacobs and Tracy Walker just weren't making.
Will Harris.
Right. Like, sit down. Like, look, man, I feel awful because he came on so strong before he got hurt last year. Like, Tracy Walker's got to be off this team next year. He makes too much money, and there's other guys that can do what he does.
Yeah,
like,
he had when he got back in the lineup after CJGJ got hurt, he had the first few weeks there where he was picking up right where he left off last year. Playing really good. But yeah, the last few weeks, along with the rest of the defense, he just was not looking great. And it's like, all right, let's try something else. And part of, like, Melifonwu is when they drafted him, he was a corner that they were gonna. He had to learn the safety position basically as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why it took them so long to trust him out there. But I mean, they said.
Well, and he's also dealt with injuries too.
Yeah, he's been hurt too. But yeah, they sent him on a blitz a couple times. There's, was it? Vildora had the one real nice shot on Wilson, coming off the blitz. But yeah, they just, I mean, it was just such a breath of fresh air. It's like, oh my, because like, yeah, that was the most frustrating thing. It's like, all right, you're not getting pressure, and obviously these corners can't hang. with guys for any extended amount of time. I mean, if you're going to get beat anyway, like send some extra guys and at least try and get to the quarterback.
Right. Make him make a play out of the pocket. Don't just let him stand there and read the whole field with no one in his face.
Yeah. So yeah, and so now we got Minnesota on Christmas Eve and win that game, and you lock up the division for the first time in 30 years. I will not get to see that game because I will. So I gotta work, and then after I get out of work, I gotta get in the car and I gotta drive up to the in-laws. So
Priorities, dude.
hopefully it's not like last year when I had to do the exact same thing, and they got their doors blown off by Carolina.
Why would you bring that up? What do you do?
No, so this is why. This is all positive. This is all about healing here. Here's my dream scenario. Somehow, whether Philly continues to fall apart or whatever it is, but God damn it, Derek Carr. We end up with the 2 seed, and this is us exorcising the ghosts of Lions past. Is what it. Play the Rams. Go ahead. Whatever. Play the Rams. We beat Matt Stafford. Thank you, Matt, for everything. We take it from here. And then Philly's got to come to our house and we hang 50 on Matt Patricia's defense. And then we go get blitzed by San Francisco in the NFC Championship game.
Or in the in between, Dallas knocks off San Fran, and then Dallas has to come to our
that's not
barn
happening because
again.
Dallas will have to go to San Francisco, and they can't play.
Stranger things have happened, but
I suppose.
I don't think you want to try to exercise the Matthew Stafford demon. I think that's a hellhound you don't want coming into your house. It would be nothing. Chris, think about this. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's been a wonderful 13 and a half months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I need you to remember the 13 years prior to that.
Sure.
And then the 13 years prior and the 13 years prior. Sure. Because nothing would be more Lions-esque than to finally win the division first time in 30 years. Home game. And then Matthew Stafford, just like Joey Hero on Thanksgiving Day, coming into our house and having the game of his career to beat you and knock you out of the playoffs. Nothing would be more Lions than that.
See, the difference is when Joey Hero came in on Thanksgiving and lit up the Lions, that Lions team sucked.
And that you're making my point even more for me, because we would have a good team and Matt Stafford could come in here and just, gunslinging like it's 2011 and just break all of our hearts. It would, oh God, that would hurt so bad.
Or he could come in gunslinging like it's 2012 and throw a bunch of picks. It could go either way. Look,
yeah.
Look, in all seriousness, hope we can avoid it? Yes, I do. I would rather not have to put Matthew Stafford out to pasture on our way to advancing in the playoffs. However, it doesn't look like we're going to get that luxury because as much as I want a fantasy book, I don't think with Philly's remaining schedule they're going to lose enough. Even if we win out, I don't think they're going to lose enough for us to overtake them for the 2 seed. Which means we're probably, unless Dallas implodes and somehow the Rams take over the 5 seed, like it's looking like we're gonna get the Rams. So I'm choosing to embrace it, and this is, like I said, this is all about healing.
So, if the Lions win out, we're guaranteed the 2 seed.
Even if
we have the tiebreaker over Philly or over the Eagles because we would have the better record in common games played.
Really?
Yes, I looked that up just now. I remember hearing it throughout the week. If we win the next 3 games, we get at least the number 2 seed.
Oh, well,
San Fran could very well lose this week to the Ravens, and then week 18, old Matty Stafford's coming in. Stafford and the Rams always play the Niners tough. Like, again, stranger things have happened. But if we win out, we're number 2 at least.
All right, well, let's go.
Let's do it then.
Fine. But it's so funny what a difference a week makes is like, because a week ago at this time, I'm like, yeah, that Dallas game is a loss.
Yeah.
And now, like, look, that place has been a house of horrors for the Lions, no doubt. And Dallas plays exceptionally well at home. However, what is Dallas not great at? Stopping the run.
Yeah.
So I think there's a chance we can go in there and win.
I'm
not, again, like the San Francisco thing. I'm not going to say I'm going to predict we're going to win. Like if you force me to bet on it, I would probably bet on the Cowboys. But
I could talk myself into it. It's Dome Goff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to worry about the elements.
Yeah, but Dome Goff played like shit in there last season. That was like his.
But that was like week 6, right?
Yeah, it was early. It was like that game and the New England game back to back where he just took a dump right on the field.
Right. But still, it's Dome Goff. You don't have to worry about that. Dallas is notorious for being choky in December and into the playoffs. For better or for worse, like the Eagles could still catch them and take the spot. Like, and it could set up the Cowboys to choke. I would guess it's going to get flexed to prime time. You know who's unbeaten in prime time this year? Our Detroit Lions.
It already is. It's
has it been?
Yeah, it's the 30th. It's on I think it's on ESPN. But yeah, it's
okay.
It's that Saturday night.
The Lions are great in prime time right now, so like I can easily talk prime myself into it. Well, then going back to last year, beating the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
So I could talk myself into it a lot easier than I could a week ago.
Yeah,
but
sure.
First priority, take care of business this week. Just go get that division title. That way that is off your shoulders, and then all it's about is handling business from here on out.
Yeah.
Get that gif of Coach Campbell going like that. Like, now's the time to ramp it up,
Yep.
And look, we haven't even talked about this yet, but the swag is back. Yes. It was on the field Sunday, but CD Deuce, baby, he's back. He's not too far away from being on the field. He might even play Sunday. That interview yesterday was mwah. Did you see it?
I've seen some quotes. I haven't seen the whole interview. No.
It was like 10 minutes of him just holding court. It was fantastic. At one point, they were like, what drove you to play that whole game with a torn pec? He didn't even pause to think about it. Like a wrestling character, man. He's like, why'd I do it? Because I'm a dog.
Yeah.
It's like there's nobody. I'm the best safety in football. I truly believe that. So I did that just to show him, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Like, he's a maniac.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone else.
The one guy goes, Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say someone asked him about the ski mask. He said, "I'm not gonna lie, I think that shit's cursed."
Yeah. He said, I'm not even gonna cap,
Yeah,
Chris.
yeah, whatever.
Like
Yeah,
that's what the kids say.
that's what. Yes,
Cap.
yeah.
One of the reporters said, "Do you feel like you guys are a threat in the NFC with you and James Houston and Alan McNeil coming back?" And he's like, "Man, that's the stupidest question you could have asked." Like he was just in his bag. It was fantastic. I can't wait to see his head bobbing on the field on Sunday, just talking his shit. It's gonna be awesome.
Um, yeah, I saw the other one where he told he told him that he fucks with the Detroit media.
Yeah,
I fuck with
right.
y'all.
Yeah. He's a character, man. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I hope.
And not to mention getting, look, he says he's the best safety. Like it's subjective, right? But like he's legit a top 5 safety in football. He's a game changer.
Right.
Like
He led the league in interceptions last year.
right, like him coming back is going to be such a boost for this team. And again, going to this, how do you talk me into thinking we can beat Dallas? They don't have a lot of tape on what he was doing in the defense. Like there's very little tape. We don't even know what this scheme was going to look like with him at the safety and Branch at nickel, and then having it, the Tracy Walkers of the world kind of roaming there too. Like, who knows what we're going to see?
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, the last 3 weeks are going to be pretty exciting. Looking forward to it. Just gotta handle business on Sunday.
Can I be negative about the Lions for 2 seconds?
Sure. Go. Oh, you want to talk about the ticket prices?
Yo, fuck yeah! Like they can go to hell with that. Like, look, I get it. I understand you haven't raised prices in a while, and the team's good. You're trying to get you want to get some extra money. I get it. 80% is pure disgusting greed. These are people that bought tickets to your shit franchise for years. They had to watch you push out Jim Schwartz as a head coach, Matt Patricia.
He's probably gonna get another job.
Mike Martz and Rod Marinelli, and you have the audacity after one good season to be like, all right, we're on the level where we're going to start charging you people double what it was a year ago. Like, go to hell. Just absolute disgusting.
Billionaire's gonna billionaire.
It's like it's stuff like that like when they inevitably fall on their face, I'm gonna be good. Excuse me, I'm glad because the Ford family isn't gonna get any extra revenue this year. Mm-hmm. Greedy. Ugh.
No.
Like I said this to someone, like I could have understood if you're like, hey, if you wanted to announce, all right, fans, we're announcing that over the course of the next 3 seasons, we're gonna increase ticket prices by 20%, 20 to 25% every year over year as part of a more. It gives people a little less sticker shock, and it lets them say, man, I really want to get these tickets. Maybe I can find someone that'll buy in for a quarter of a season so I can keep my seats. But, like right. To just one day be like, we're doubling or essentially doubling your ticket price or your package. Like that's just, it's a crappy thing to do.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I've long, like, I don't expect anything from these people, any kind of decency from these people. So,
right.
I'm not disappointed that way when they inevitably do something like this. So,
sure.
But I get it. I thought it sucked because, and then they gotta. I mean, the only person from the organization that's really talking is the coach, and he didn't have anything to do with it other than coach his team up to be good enough where they can just, justify doing it, and then so now
Yeah, right.
he's like, I don't know, man.
I don't work in marketing.
I don't set ticket prices, man.
Yeah, I did like the reporter who asked the question. He's like, since you're kind of the one responsible for all of this,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Hey, at least they're doing it after a good season. Imagine, I mean, I'm sure that's happened before. Maybe not with them, but I'm sure other franchises have been like, "Yeah, we suck, but guess what?"
Sure.
So, but
I mean, the Red Wings kind of did that. They're like, "Hey, we suck, but we got a brand new arena to
right,
bring you to." So
exactly.
now they suck again.
Yeah. We've sold our soul in Detroit for for a good Lions season.
Look, I'm fine with it. I like nothing is more interesting to me in sports than the Lions pulling this off one year.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I need to cross off my bucket list.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah.
I don't even want to like. Holly asked me, "What would you do?" Like I don't even know. Probably a lot of tears, which is
Yes.
ridiculous to say, but
Yeah. You wouldn't be able to wipe the smile off my face for at least a month.
sure,
Like,
sure,
be like, we won the fucking Super Bowl.
yeah, right.
All right. Anything else?
No, no.
All right. Let's get out of here. Hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas and all that jazz. If Christmas is your thing, yeah. Hope everyone is safe and gets to celebrate with the people they care about. So, and we'll be back next week. Kind of do a look ahead into 2024, and hopefully we're talking about that division title as well, being all wrapped up. So, yeah. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. And until next time, see ya.